None of this stuff is what he was planning to do. Okay. But it
Nope,
was
nope.
gold anyway.
But I promise you, I did write things down. Hey, everybody, welcome to No Comic Required. I am Sal, and I am joined today by our typical 1/3 host, Ethan, and also, well, not 1/3 of a host, he's 1/3 of the hosting pantheon. Today, we're joined by Jason again. Jason, welcome back to the show.
Hello. Hello. Nice to be here.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. I'm
Yeah.
excited for this one because we're to be talking about Star Wars.
Oh.
I
What?
what? I didn't watch Andor though. Don't get excited, Ethan. I watched the first season when it came out. I have not seen season 2 yet. I'm sorry.
Unforgivable, man.
I'm
I know.
further behind than that.
I know you haven't seen any Andor.
No, that's not true. I've
Philistines.
watched one or two.
How
Um,
could you watch 1 or 2 and then not watch the rest of the show?
Like, I'm good.
because it didn't grip me, right? So like I watched the first one, I'm like, okay, and then I watched I don't even know if I made it the second one yet because I was like, okay, like I have to like psych myself up to watch it again. To watch the
Oh,
next
man.
episode. Just it didn't. I didn't. I was like,
I
okay,
I do
why do
seem
I
to
care?
recall that it starts a little slow.
It
It
does
Yeah.
might
start
take a
slow.
couple episodes to get really into it.
Yeah.
And the
But just
second
from
season's like that too. The second season's
Okay.
like the first
Good to
couple
know.
episodes, I'm like, it's a good thing I really like the show because like people who came in on the season would be like, what? Why is nothing happening? And then it's
Right.
just like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
it's like,
I
yeah,
figured
you gotta set it up, you know?
Yeah.
just from the set design, just from the fact that like there's so many
It just
practical
looks
effects and
awesome.
it just
Yeah.
looks like Star Wars and you're like,
It does look like Star Wars, yeah.
We're
So,
not here
but
to
we're not
talk about
talking
it
about
since
Andor, apparently.
no, we're not here to talk about Andor only because apparently this panel is completely and woefully unprepared for that. So here's my question to you, gentlemen. This is my first topic of the day. It was
All right.
brought up during a deleted moment from the episode of Back Issues that Ethan, Ben, and I recorded last night. Disney makes these live action remakes, and they're not going to stop, but they are going to run out because eventually they will catch up with all the movies they've already made, and then they're gonna have to remake live action remake. It's not gonna work. So they got to start plumbing the well from other areas. And I think that sooner rather than later, if you have to make some live action remakes, you gotta go Disney Afternoon. Abandon the Black Diamond movies and just go full 90s and just grab something from the Disney Afternoon and make that. They even did that, kind of, with a weird Roger Rabbit-esque reboot of the Chippendale Rescue Rangers,
That's right. That's right.
I
which is
don't
It was
recall
streaming. It
this.
went straight to streaming.
straight to
Yeah, this
streaming,
was
and
a
it's
couple
Really?
years ago.
it was a couple years ago. It was COVID time, and it
COVID
wasn't
times, yeah.
great.
Yeah, I
It
didn't
wasn't
watch
great in a big way. It was clever and it had great
Who
moments
was
that
in it? Who was the guy? There was a funny
yeah,
guy in it,
Andy
right?
Sandberg
Yeah,
and
okay.
John Mulaney were Chip and
Okay.
Dale.
Okay.
But
Oh, no, but there was a
live
human
action
actor who
Chippendale?
isn't there a human actor?
There
Maybe
is
not.
there is a human actor in the Rescue Rangers movie,
Is
but
it was
like
it Seth Rogen was in it, or is he an animated character? He's definitely in it, isn't
it's
he?
actually he's very much in it. And actually in a great way. Like it's actually a
Okay.
really, really great moment. He plays all the characters that he's played in cartoons.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So like live action Pumbaa meets the praying mantis character from Kung Fu Panda. And Seth Rogen also plays a third new character who is a joke of the weird Uncanny Valley Polar Express Beowulf movie. You remember when they made that Beowulf movie
Yes.
with like Angelina Jolie?
Yes.
Oh, you don't remember this, Jason? Man.
No.
Well,
What?
they made a Uncanny Valley CG Beowulf like stop motion. No, like
No.
like mocap kind of movie.
Yeah.
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 Okay.
And nobody saw it, and it doesn't matter. But they were making fun of all these different styles of animation in the Rescue Rangers movie because that's where you want to do that. And
It's very meta.
it's too
That's
meta. It's like
yeah.
it's choked with meta. Like there's nothing left outside of the meta. But Seth Rogen plays like the Beowulf-esque character, but for whatever reason they
Mhm.
didn't pay to have him play the Beowulf character.
Okay.
So anyway,
Ugh.
they all bump into each other at the same time, and then they all start laughing.
Doing the Seth Rogen laugh.
It's all the same. They're all just like three ways. I'm like, ah! It's
Okay, now I kind of want to watch it just for that. That's
that and like Comic-Con plays a big role. because it's like 2009 and we got to make another Ted movie or something. And
Yeah, right. I was like, wait, like Ted 2? Who's that?
like Ted 2.
Okay.
Yeah, but Ted 2 takes place at New York Comic Con, and this is San Diego. But Ugly Sonic is a exhibitor there, and like they
Nice.
paid to do it. Like they paid to
Yeah.
have the character show up,
That's awesome.
and he's not the same voice actor, but he's just like, yeah,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
me, Ugly Sonic.
Well, Ugly Sonic never had a voice because he never actually appeared. So, he can
Well,
sound like anything.
No, the same actor who plays Sonic in the new successful Sonic movies was going to play Ugly Sonic in
Oh,
the
yeah?
original Sonic movie. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's something. Well, I know he was going to play him in the original Sonic movie.
Right.
But was he going to play him in the Chip and Dale's Rescue Ranger movie?
I
Because
mean,
they
they
could just retcon that, like, no, this was just another.
That's what they said. They
Just
said like
another guy,
they said
yeah.
they treated it like Roger Rabbit, where they're like, no, we fired Ugly Sonic and we got a better.
He's a
looking
real
Sonic.
person who sounds like this. He's not an
Yes.
animated character. What
No,
are you
he
talking
was-
about? There's
He
two
was
different
doing a
people.
voice. Yeah. So I mean, I know I'm actually really selling the Rescue Rangers movie, but like
Yeah,
it
it
sounds
sounds
awesome. Actually, like I'm ready to go watch it tonight. Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
kind of funny, but
Okay.
it doesn't.
But
really
nobody
hold up.
cared about it. It
Not at
was-
all. No.
Yeah, it did really
yeah.
poorly, as I recall.
Yes. No. Kiki Lane plays a live action character named Ellie
Ellie
Steckler. She's like a
Steckler,
cop or something.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's not what I was. I guess I was remembering the Seth Rogen thing.
Yeah, it's Seth Rogen, but Seth Rogen doesn't actually physically appear in the show
Right.
or movie. But yeah, again,
So
besides Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers, which I guess technically counts.
Right.
What should they do next? Is
Yeah,
that your
what would
question?
be your pick outside of something like obviously Gargoyles, but like maybe you guys don't care about Gargoyles, so I'll forget that one.
I
But,
don't.
like,
I never watched Gargoyles, so
Yeah,
I,
I
oh
didn't
my
either.
god, man, you would dig it. Maybe you dig it. I don't know. It's a
I
really it
think
was
I,
a great show.
I think I'd
Think-
like it. Yeah.
You have to
thinking
find
about-
appreciation for it.
thinking about, I actually think Tailspin might translate well to a live action.
That's what I said.
Yeah.
That's what I said on the episode.
Yeah.
And and
Which
people
I
were
didn't
like,
see, so
what?
that's- yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I got some pushback for that one.
Yeah.
You did.
Well,
Well, and the
Yeah,
real
I-
reason why that is, I hate
Well,
to
'cause-
say this,
Why
is
is that?
because there already is a live action Tailspin show.
What?
It's called Tales of the Gold Monkey.
Oh,
And
I do remember
it was
that.
produced, of course, and created by Donald P. Belisario from Quantum Leap fame. And it starred Stephen Collins from like Seventh Heaven and stuff. Like it was Tailspin, but with humans in it.
But with people.
Yeah.
He flew a big aqua ship or plane called the Grumman Goose.
Yeah. Well,
Oh, I'm
Tailspin
sorry,
just
it was a
was
a
that.
Grumman Goose. They called it
Right.
Cutter's Goose. It's the same thing. The main
Yeah.
character wears the same outfit that Baloo wears.
Yeah. No, they
Interesting.
just ripped it off.
They just completely stole
Right.
it wholesale.
Yeah.
And by the
oh,
way,
that,
the
that reflects
show-
it with the animals and shit. Like,
yeah, the show came out in 1982. Like it's not like it's a really old show because
no.
what was it?
Yeah.
Tailspin launched in 1990. So it's like these guys
Right, yeah.
remembered.
So at the time, everyone who saw Tailspin was like, "Oh, well, that's just
Well,
Tales of the Gold Monkey."
actually, that was the benefit was the show lasted one season from September to June 82 to
Oh.
83. No, anyone who
Yeah,
saw
no one
Tailspin would be like,
remembered
"Wow,
that.
what original concept!"
I mean, you can't hate
But-
it because like that show didn't make it. So like Tailspin arguably resurrected the concept and brought it to a wider
Right.
audience.
It was a successful interpretation of the concept. Execution of the
Yeah.
concept.
it takes a thing that I've been saying, like I want to say for 30 years, which is stop. It was, and I know the moment I had this idea, and it was when Gus Van Sant made a shot-for-shot remake of Psycho, and I was like, you
Isn't
could
it a-
burn your money in a big pile of movie like that, or why don't you remake a bad movie that failed?
Right?
Like, just take a movie that was like big but stupid or sucked, figure out why, and then make that,
Yeah.
Mm,
but good.
right.
I
Yeah.
think Tales of the Golden Monkey is one of those examples where it's like the show is a failure, but if I make it cartoons, I save on budget because it was I mean, it had a freaking plane. It was a main character. Like, what are you gonna film that every week? That's not cheap. For God's sake, we're talking to one of the largest Knight Rider fans in all of creation. It only had one car in the whole damn show, and it was still an expensive venture.
Oh yeah.
And that's a car. We got 1,000 of those. But anyway,
So I've never seen
Um,
Tales of the Golden Monkey. The Wikipedia article has a black and white photo. Was it in black and white?
I want
Like
to
to
say
like
it
make it
was.
look like it was old, I guess to like imply it was set in black and white
Yeah, because it's set in the
days.
30s. I want to
Okay.
say it was,
Yeah.
but like honestly, I haven't watched that show in probably 15 years. It was definitely in color. I
Okay.
don't think that anyone in the 80s would have accepted like a weird,
Yeah.
young Frankenstein version of this show where they're like, "No, we're pushing the envelope. We're making a 30s serial, but for the 80s audience." What?
What? Yeah.
Well, George just did it 3 years ago, and you guys loved it. So yeah,
Um,
I love the idea of Tailspin being a live action remake. That'd be even funnier. We're gonna make a live action Tailspin, which is a animated remake of a live action TV show. But I have another one, Jason. I
but
think
I
you're
mean,
gonna be sad to have not
uh,
thought of this.
oh,
The first one, Adventures of the Gummy Bears.
I forgot that
hey,
was Disney Afternoon.
I'm
Huge
I'm not gonna
mythology.
go ahead and agree with you there, but I can't.
Ooh,
Okay. Ooh, yeah.
The great thing about that is you wouldn't even have to like rewrite the theme song because that theme song still slaps
That's
it.
true.
I
to
mean,
this day.
I will argue that every single theme from the Disney
Yeah,
Afternoon
they're all
movie,
gold.
Absolutely. They're all, their in-house composing team was they're just knocking them out of the park one after
where
another.
are they now? They better be just like they're like, well, we write for Beyonce. Like, there's no
Right.
other
Yeah.
future for these people besides Gold and Stardom.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Like, it's like The Dream did every version of these theme songs. I don't know. It's every single one. Even the Timon and Pumbaa song, which is just Hakuna Matata, but whatever.
Right.
Yeah. It's
I
a good
would-
song though.
Yeah.
They didn't have their own theme? Is it a
It's just-
variant on that?
It's a variant. It's a pastiche of Hakuna Matata.
Okay.
It's just instead of Hakuna Matata, they say Timon and Pumbaa.
Right.
Very original.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Hakuna Matata, Timon and Pumbaa. Yeah,
Well,
I remember.
yep.
I don't think I ever saw that one.
Yeah, you're good.
It was toward the end.
Yeah,
What was the other one? With the cat? The cat with the police hat?
Bonkers.
Oh, Bonkers. I never.
You mean
watched
Roger Rabbit, but not? Yeah.
I didn't watch a single episode of Bonkers. I saw the character. I was like, no, that sucks. I don't want that. He looks like garbage.
Wow. I will tell you this. The Bonkers theme, phenomenal.
Yeah.
Yes. It'll get in your
Okay.
head and it'll never leave. That said, I was like, I know what you're smoking here. Like that you I mean, let me tell. Okay.
Sal has some things to say about Bonkers.
About Bonkers.
Let's hear it. All right.
Roger Rabbit. Roger is an actor in Hollywood. Eddie Valiant is a private detective, avenging or living in a bottle from the trauma of his dead brother. And, he used to be a fun Toontown beat cop until his brother was murdered by a Toon, became, an alcoholic, depressive, runs into Roger. Roger gives him new life. You saw in the opening of the movie, Roger's being abused by directors, and there's no love. Like, Roger's a people pleaser. He's trying, but he's not finding happiness and passion. If you wanted to do a Roger Rabbit cartoon show, the pitch is Roger quits Hollywood and becomes a cop with Eddie. And he becomes Eddie's partner.
Oh, yeah.
And they get
Buddy
new
cop
adventures
thing,
it's a buddy cop show in Toontown where Eddie the human and Roger the cartoon character solve crimes set in, unfortunately, only the Disney universe. But still, it's just, that's the concept. That's Bonkers. But instead of Roger Rabbit, a character we love and are familiar with, it's Bonkers, a character who is exactly like Roger, except he's not. He's an ocelot or something.
Right.
But
yeah.
But the cop.
I think it bothered me that he was so disconnected. I'm like, what is this?
Right, but who's
all the
Bonkers?
other characters are from something.
Yeah.
Where's Bonkers from? Nowhere.
Yeah.
Well,
No.
I mean, where was Roger from?
Well, Roger was
Well, yeah,
cool.
but that
But
was
it
its
didn't
own
matter
thing.
because he was
I mean,
awesome.
the conceit of the Disney Afternoon was that like we're taking these
Sure.
characters
Yeah.
from past Disney properties and bringing them into a different scenario.
Right.
Darkwing
right,
Duck was a little different, but he was at
Yeah.
least a duck that was like quasi related to the
Right. And
the,
they had the crossover character of Launchpad just to smooth over.
exactly,
right,
exactly.
what-
So like that's all
Exactly.
part of
Yeah.
Although as we discussed yesterday, that was not an actual crossover
No,
because those were two separate universes.
those are two launch
Really?
pads.
Those are two different launch pads.
Wow.
Yeah, they
I
didn't want.
Jason said, "Well, like
Yes.
I don't give a
I
shit about that."
know that
I have no
I
dog
don't
in
know
this
that I
race.
buy this because I mean it's Launchpad. It's the same.
It's the
It may
same
be a
guy,
different
right?
launch
Yes,
pad, but it's
but
the
his memories
same
and stuff aren't the
launch pad.
same.
Right, like
He
I
didn't
love
go
it
through
though.
the same things.
Jason is. I know exactly where Jason's coming from. He's like, you could say that, but it is the same launch pad.
It's,
We're
it's
just
the
gonna
same.
move on.
Right?
Like,
you
it's
can
just
tell
like-
me whatever the hell you want, but I'm not going to believe you.
right?
Right.
It's just like no. Like you could hear everyone from like Disney Files to the people who produced both shows going, no, I'm telling you, they're not. They're the same. They're not the same launch pad. They're two different launch pads. You're like, I don't care what you say. It's definitely the same launch pad, and we're just
Right.
moving on from there. Like
I
I'm.
watched the
Right.
show. It's the
Right.
same guy.
It's
the
the
same
same guy, and
He
it's
sounds
like,
the same.
and,
He
like-
acts the same.
Like,
what do you-
hold on,
what do you
hold on,
want-
hold on, hold on. Tell me this. Like, what if this is a different launch pad? Why does it matter? Like,
Right.
What about Launchpad, the character who acts and speaks and is exactly the same as the other Launchpad? What about his background in the Darkwing Duck universe
Well,
makes him
I'll
a
tell
different
you.
person?
I'll tell
right.
you because
Please.
if it's the same character, then Sal mentioned this yesterday. The fact that he's in Darkwing Duck means he must have left the employ of Scrooge McDuck,
Yes.
but he would never do that. So therefore, he has to be a different character.
Right.
Otherwise, he ruins the character from DuckTales.
It's
It's
dumb.
like that's the
That-
craziest shit I've ever heard.
Pe-
why
people
wouldn't he
get
do
new
that for
jobs
leave?
all the time?
Yeah,
What if
No, but-
Scrooge is gonna die? He's an old man. What if Scrooge dies?
that's what I said. Maybe it's after Scrooge dies. But then I mean,
Maybe.
Scrooge
That's
dies.
even more dark.
Hold on. Have timelines been established? Maybe Darkwing Duck is a prequel.
Oh.
Mm.
Well, no, it can't.
For some
be.
reason, I
Probably
assumed
not.
it was a sequel, but I don't.
Well,
Yeah.
there's
It-
two reasons for that. Number one is because Darkwing Duck came out after DuckTales was canceled.
Right.
Yeah, it could still have been a prequel.
The second is because Gizmo Duck is in Darkwing Duck, and Gizmo Duck was created in
Sorry.
DuckTales.
What is it? A different Gizmo Duck?
Yes, it's a Gizmo Duck from Earth 2 of the, DuckTales.
this makes no
universe.
sense.
What?
Multiverse.
There's two characters that are the same?
No, well,
but-
it's,
see,
they're
but
parallel.
literally-
They're parallel Earths.
That's insane.
So theoretically, they're like there's another version of Huey, Dewey, and Louie, or it's a universe. Maybe that's the difference. That's the difference between the Darkwing and DuckTales universes is there's no McDuck lineage.
Darkwing Duck is the same universe, but with one difference being that McDuck never existed.
That's a pretty big difference. Is the McDuck line doesn't exist in the Darkwing Duck universe?
I feel
ergo-
you're
Okay,
you're
fine.
extending it a bit too far. It could be different in many other respects as well.
Oh well, it has to be. Well, that's the
Well,
thing.
the
Is
knock on
no,
it-
due to
the
that
knock on the-
change.
Sorry.
So many
Right.
things.
Right. So the McDuck family would have prevented all these supervillains from being created.
That's what
in
I'm saying. Well, yeah, because like,
Canard City or wherever the hell it is.
yeah, Saint Canard. Thank you.
Say Canard.
But
Whatever.
somehow Gizmo Duck still comes around? Like, I mean, come on.
Gizmo Duck is a RoboCop reference. That is
I don't
universal.
remember his origins. Does his origins depend on Scrooge McDuck in any way?
I'm trying to
Maybe
I
remember.
don't think so. I don't think so.
Well, because no, I guess not, because it was Scrooge's inventor friend whose name was
Fenton Crackshell.
Fenton Crackshell. Gizmo Duck was his invention, and then
Yeah.
got into the hands of oh God,
Was
the
it
other guy.
Flintheart?
No, the the used car sales duck who said the magic words and got the suit. Blather and Blatherskite, right? Because
It's a greatest American hero reference. I thought it was a RoboCop thing. Oh my God!
it could be
Nevin.
both.
What the hell is Greatest American Hero? I've never heard of that.
Yeah,
Okay, we are treading some amazing ground in this episode today, folks. The greatest American hero. Have you ever heard the theme? Believe it or not, I'm walking on air. Like
Yeah, from the
that's
Seinfeld episode.
yeah. That's the theme song to The Greatest American Hero, which is a show, a comedy about a guy who finds a superhero suit that is bestowed upon him by aliens, but he doesn't have the instruction manual. So he has to learn how the suit works in every episode for different situations that he ends up in.
That is
That's
not what I would have expected that theme song would go with.
yeah.
That's because
Well,
that theme
that-
song was
that's
clearly written
insane.
before the show was invented. Like that's just a killer theme that they were like, we need a theme, and they're like, we have this, and they're like, oh my god,
Well, that slaps.
because
See,
our
this-
show
But that's
sucks.
not
Let's put
that
that
doesn't have
theme on
anything to
there.
do with our show, though.
Who cares?
But yeah, so
Heathcliff.
I guess that
Heathcliff
is.
has a great theme too, and it's a
Yeah.
dog
does.
shit cartoon.
Yeah.
Jason, go ahead.
I was gonna say, but that is kind of the Gizmo Duck thing, right? Just
That's
the guy-
amazing.
but he accidentally gets the suit, right?
Yeah. Well,
But
so does Greatest American Hero, but yeah.
Right. Yeah. But I guess Scrooge was only sort of tangentially involved. It is. I will concede it is possible that Crackshell still invented the Gizmo Duck suit, and I really wish I could remember the other duck's name, who happens to have the same expletive exclamation that Crackshell thinks is very unique. No one's gonna say blather and blatherskite. What a great unique phrase. And then it's possible. It's possible.
Yeah.
By
Yeah.
selling by Launchpad.
So I'm going down the
was
rabbit hole.
Was
now.
it Gyro Gear Loose?
Gyro.
Gyro Gear
Yeah. That's it. man.
Gyro Gear Loose, cartoon character. Oh yeah, yes, I remember this guy. I did not know that was his name. That's an awesome name.
So I mean, it sounds like our real answer is DuckTales because it has such a deep, rich history with so many characters.
really does.
I
That's
mean,
true.
you
You could
can-
kick off a lot with DuckTales.
which they did in the reboot series.
Yes,
It's a new
and
cartoon
in
show.
the
where-
reboot series, Darkwing
It's
Duck
all
is in the same universe. It's all part of one universe.
Oh,
yeah.
Rescue
Oh, is it
Rangers is
different
part of that
Darkwing
universe.
Duck?
Gargoyles is part of that universe.
There you go.
They said everything from the Disney Afternoon is in that universe.
I guess I should watch that show.
It's a pretty solid show. David Tennant being Scrooge McDuck is inspired.
Really?
Oh, he's
Okay.
amazing.
Oh my god. Oh, okay, I'm watching it. Okay, well, you know, I'm writing that
But
down.
not Andor.
It's like, no, fuck Andor.
There's more seasons of the DuckTales
was-
cartoon.
One episode was boring.
And
Just
By the
like
way-
Indiana Jones, that was boring. You're watching
you
another
should
one.
watch that new DuckTales show though. It's really
Yeah.
great. But I also I have a soft spot for like the original Disney Afternoon and all
Mhm.
those
Oh, yeah.
creations.
Yeah, there's some nostalgia factor here.
Yeah, well, and
perhaps.
the point is, like, you know, whether it's DuckTales or Gummy Bears, whatever movie or show you launch with, it's a live action remake, like that will succeed, and then you can just make them all. Like, you don't have to,
Right, yeah.
worry about whether like Rescue Rangers is going to get its due because it's just a
Right.
matter of time.
Yeah, but Sal, those weren't movies. So now I gotta write a whole script and shit instead of just adapting what already came before. I gotta
Yeah.
come up with like a story.
I mean,
No. You
they
just have to copy
certainly-
and paste the Wikipedia into ChatGPT, and it'll make you a show for you.
right. I mean, certainly all the Star Wars crap that's been coming out is that someone's writing that
yeah,
stuff.
they got people who write stuff.
They got people
yeah.
who write stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I wish they would.
By the way, Andor is not in that group
category.
of crap that they just turn out.
Sure.
Yes.
It's fundamentally different.
It is genuinely different.
Sal, you can back me up. Not
can back
different
you
enough
up.
for Sal to watch season 2, but
I just haven't had time. I want to be invested. I don't want to like passively catch it every like 3 weeks. I want to just watch it.
Right.
Yeah.
So I know how good it's going to be.
Well, it's all out now, so you can just binge the whole thing
That's
at
true.
any point.
Yeah, but we're not going to do that. So your pitches for the live action thing were Tailspin, a
Yep.
show we didn't talk about at all, and
No.
Ethan, yours was what?
Well, I was originally Tailspin yesterday, so I'm gonna stick with Tailspin.
That's
Oh,
fair.
that's
All
Two
right.
for Tailspin.
Two
I
votes
mean-
for Tailspin. Yeah.
Tailspin
No,
looks
I found
and is awesome.
I found the universe of Tailspin to be the most interesting.
It's compelling.
Like,
Right.
it's
Right.
very compelling. It's like unique, although apparently not unique at all, but it feels unique, and I think it would still feel unique to a modern audience.
Dude,
Right.
Sky Pirates, Louis'
Yeah.
insane bar.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of really great engaging elements in that. And with modern animate computer generate, like, you could do really cool flight stuff with the planes and the sky ship, and it wouldn't break the bank.
We're forgetting the other fantastic entry point for all young people is Kit Cloudkicker, a kid who literally
Yes.
surfs
Surfs
across
the
or
wind.
snowboards across skies. Like that
Yeah.
visual, that experience is
Yeah.
universal.
Yeah.
Now, I wonder if you would. You got to be careful with Kit, right? Because it could just come off as like Next Airbender, where you're like, "Ooh, that didn't work," right?
Oh
When
yeah.
Oh, the
Yeah.
live action?
Where
Yeah,
it
the
looks
live
so
action
bad,
pieces
yeah.
where you're like,
I mean, he's gonna be a bear boy, so it is gonna be weird
That's
looking.
that's the problem with
That's-
doing Tailspin. That's the problem with doing any of them. They're all animals, and the live action animals look like trash.
Yeah, but they don't
Yeah.
care. I mean, like they made Jungle Book, and that looks like awful.
Yeah.
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 Plus,
That's
there's the added bonus. Maybe they'll have a carryover. Bill Murray can play Baloo in the Tailspin movie. Should be kind of
That'd be
fun.
cool. I mean, here's the thing. I did not watch the live action The Lion King or Mufasa. I would watch the shit out of live action Tailspin movie.
Yeah,
Expected it to be bad, but I would
Yeah.
still go and watch it.
I would see it
Absolutely.
in a
Yeah.
theater.
I'm
Yep.
right there with you on that. Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
I didn't even vote for it, and I would still go see it.
And that says something. The fact that I would see that and not The Lion King, and I love The Lion King. Lion King is one of my favorite movies of all time, and I was like, I will not see the live action Lion King.
And here's the other thing, because I can imagine that being the mentality for a lot of people, where it's like, well, but Lion King is perfect. There's no need to change it.
Right.
We still love Tailspin, but we would also watch a live action Tailspin.
Yeah. Well, because Tailspin was an ongoing universe. Like, I want to know, like,
Right.
what happened next? You know? Who cares what happened next to the Lion King?
Yeah,
right.
You don't get
Well,
or what
that-
happened before. Like,
Right. Well, this is the difference between like a self-contained movie that has a
Yeah.
start to be
Beginning, middle, and end,
an
yeah.
episodic universe that just
Yeah.
feeds more stories, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
And
And I
inspires
really-
more stories.
I really dug, I think, I didn't even realize this when I was a kid, but I really dug that there wasn't like a lot of continuity in Tailspin, but there was like some.
Yeah.
Like, you felt like the struggle to make the business work. And you felt like the, increasing menace of the pirates, or like what happened in the previous episode, like did happen in the next, like it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Or
it
the Shere
felt- I don't-
Khan of it all. Remember, he's like
Yeah,
the business
exactly.
mogul that like runs the world more or less.
Yeah,
Yeah,
He
there's
was
a lot of
cool.
references to that.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it felt like things were happening, and it wasn't just random adventures. It felt like a real world.
Right.
Yeah.
Because that's one of the weird things about Tailspin, right? Because it was really just like the Jungle Book, but
Yes.
like in a
Yeah.
city with
Yeah,
with jobs and
With-
airplanes.
yeah, in the world of the Golden Monkey.
Yeah, no.
Right,
For
yeah.
some reason.
Somebody was just like they put on the tape of the Tale of the Golden Monkey, and they said, for every actor character that's in the show, replace them with a member of the Jungle Book.
Right.
That's it.
That's
We
it.
got
And
ourselves a
for-
cartoon.
And no Mowgli, but also make sure that if there isn't a new character, if you need to invent a new character, make sure that they have high-waisted mom jeans. Like, make sure they are 90s tastic.
Yeah. Oh, now there's a question. Who could the mom have been if they'd tried to use a real character from the Jungle Book instead of inventing one? I don't even know what animal was she a bear?
She's a bear
She
too,
like a-
yeah.
She's a bear.
Like a skinny bear?
She's a thin bear, yes. Yeah, Sally Struthers played Rebecca Cunningham, and yes.
That's
Yes.
right. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess they thought it'd be weird if she was not a bear, but Baloo was like attracted to her. Was he attracted to her? I don't even remember.
Yes,
I seem
yes.
to remember that
Yeah,
was
they
a
wanted to
thing.
be like moonlighting as well, where it's like, will they, won't
Yeah.
they? Yeah.
Yeah.
Or Cheers.
yeah.
It was kind of Sam and Diane.
But Cheers. Or Cheers, yeah.
Yeah. By the way, like, can you imagine being in a board meeting and you're like, all right, so we're making a cartoon show about bears and shit, and it's gonna be based on our like 60-year-old cartoon movie, but I want to make it kind of like Cheers, and they're like, what?
Mhm.
What?
Yeah.
Like, yeah,
Cheers.
well-
Cheers is
Cheers is big, but I'm selling it to children.
Oh yeah.
Like,
Well, what the hell? They'll like it anyway.
because Becky wasn't just a working woman in a man's world. She also was a single mother.
Mom. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
Like, okay.
Yeah, no, that was
Yeah. It's
you
tough.
got to
She
put
had a
something
tough.
in there for the grown-ups, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's an
We still haven't talked
inspiring
about-
image for people, right?
I know.
That's
I
right.
know.
I guess.
Very progressive.
Still haven't talked about
That's right.
Don Carnage, by the way.
Don Carnage.
Jim
Fantastic
Cummings is
Fantastic
still
villain.
working. No problem. Just get him back
That's
in.
right.
Yeah.
You could use the same voice. Oh my god.
There you go.
Yes. Yes.
Now, so we were watching some Tailspin somewhat recently, actually, which was fun. And like, yeah, this actually does hold up. Like, this is good.
Nice.
And he has always been one of my favorite, like, cartoon show villains
Yes.
because he's hilarious.
Yes. Yeah, because he has the ability to be a menace.
Right.
But I forgive me because I'm removed from this show by a long
course.
time. But you know, he's a buffoon. But he like gets in the way of himself. Like his
Right.
failures are typically his own.
That's right. But he does still have a menace to him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But he is also a lot of fun. The whole character for me is just really. I'm at a loss for words.
He resonates with you.
But yes, there you go. If I were to be a villain, I would pattern myself on Don Carnage.
Well, that's great because he's like a gearhead, right? Like, 'cause
yeah,
he,
yeah,
works on
yeah.
planes and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
Makes sense.
He
I remember
has-
as a kid
he has
watching
a
the
bunch of
show.
inept henchmen. I mean, come on. What more do you
Yeah.
Yeah,
want?
he commands an entire army of sky pirates. It's true.
Right.
Yeah. He's got that awesome blimp where they fly out of the mouth.
Oh,
Come on.
man. As a kid, I remember just every time that Don Carnage. I'm like, I remember when things go pretty okay. I remember being like, "This is a perfect opportunity for Don Carnage to show up," and then he usually does immediately in that moment. Ugh. Yeah. Incidentally, they also modeled all the like any plane you saw in Tailspin was also modeled after like a real plane that existed in the real world.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, like flying boxcars and CT-37 and stuff like that. It was like, wow, really? I guess because it's hard to invent a plane and draw a new draw a new idea.
Well, it's easier to just take something that already exists than to, create from scratch. Especially since like you're basing it around like a really mundane concept of like a plane that ships stuff.
Yeah.
Right. Like
Right.
we're not getting crazy with the
No.
designs. Right.
Yeah.
Just you know what they look like. I can't go too far outside of reality anyway
Yeah.
because it wouldn't serve the premise. So yeah, I'll just make real planes. It's
Yeah.
easier.
As
Maybe
a
that's-
transition. No, go ahead.
Hmm.
No, if you want to transition, we can go.
No, well, let me.
No, I was
let
gonna
let
say,
you
I
have
think that's actually one of the things I always appreciate about Tailspin was that there was a little bit of grounding to it.
there
Mhm.
was
Despite the fact that all the characters were animals that talked.
and
Right,
Kid
but
Cloud
there
Kicker
was
like
realistic
physically interacts with
elements
clouds.
to it, right? What was that sound?
I said, and Kid Cloud Kicker physically interacts with clouds, which would only hurt or be cold.
Yeah.
that.
yeah. I didn't say the whole show was ground. I said there were elements of the show.
Well, that's the thing. No, you're hitting on a perfect on something
Right.
that is so fundamentally essential and maybe even lost on today's modern fantasy / sci-fi, which is it doesn't need to be real. It needs
Right.
to be grounded, and you need to not be afraid of the fantastic. Like
Right.
they fly planes. The planes work the way planes do.
Work.
They don't ship magic. They ship
Right.
boxes of shit to other
Right.
places. That's fine. Kit Cloud Kicker has to be tethered to a plane. Like,
Right. He
You
can't
know,
just fly.
no, he's
He-
not.
And it's like
a
you could
sky bear.
imagine.
Right.
Yeah, and you could imagine somebody if they had the grip strength, holding on to a tether behind the plane
Oh,
and
yeah, yeah.
surfing on the air like you do on
It's
on jet
water
skis.
skiing.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's like that, but on the air. That would kind of work.
This
Right?
is
Maybe.
something that Bruce Snyder talks about in Save the Cat. If you've read that book, right? He talks about like
No.
you can have a story and you kind of get one fantastical element to it, right?
Mhm.
If you have too much fantastical stuff, too much magic, the story doesn't work because people
Yeah.
can't relate.
Over on the Patreon, patreon.com/ComicPop, if you want to help us out, you guys join us over there. Galahad's Comics asked a question that I think both of you have an opinion about. In
Good.
the 97 special edition re-release of A New Hope, they added a scene I'm sure you're familiar, where Jabba is waiting for Han at the Falcon. I hate that the interaction undermines the looming threat that Jabba is supposed to be. Han steps on his tail, and Jabba does nothing. Some gangster. What do you guys think? I mean, first we have to establish that, like, if you've never watched the behind the scenes of that sequence, he needs to step on his tail because Han walks around the physical actor that's in the scene, and there's no place for him to go because Jabba is so much larger than
Right.
the like Welsh actor or whatever that they had in place of Jabba. And so they had no solution for him. And so they came up with the idea of having him step on his tail, which when it happened at the time we saw it in theaters was actually kind of fun and impressive. At the end of the day, it is unnecessary because Greedo provides all the context and information you need from that scene, which is why it was cut in the first place.
Almost line for line the same
Right.
scene.
It is. They took the line of Han saying, "Even I get bored sometimes. Do you think I had a choice?" from that deleted scene and put it and 80-yard it in the Greedo scene. And if you watch some versions of that movie, if not all of them, he just says it twice in the same movie now.
Oh my god.
So I think yes, that scene is it was
not
left
necessary.
on the cutting room floor for a reason, right?
Yeah.
The particular CGI that was used, the stepping on the tail thing, I don't know. It always looked a little
Wonky.
What they could have done, and Jabba in that scene feels
Small.
smaller than he does in Return of the
Yeah.
Jedi,
Yeah,
which I
he's
never
definitely
understood
smaller.
either.
We
And
don't
what I
like
don't
that.
understand, why did they just make Jabba bigger and then have Han just disappear behind him? And then you would have to right?
Yeah.
Like
Maybe they tried that and they couldn't make it work. Like it looked too weird of him coming
He's
around.
too
Like
close.
they couldn't.
yeah.
He's
Yeah.
too close to Jabba. The problem was,
Yeah.
and they showed it actually. They had like the CG
Oh, yeah,
model. He
yeah.
clips like through Jabba. It just wasn't.
Yeah.
It just didn't work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, I don't.
Jabba put on some weight.
I
between A New
guess,
Hope and
yeah.
Return of the
Yeah,
Jedi.
like 2 years, he gains like 600 pounds.
That's
Probably like 5,000.
that's a big growth rate there. That's
Yeah.
impressive.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's worse things they did in that movie than that scene.
Yeah.
But the scene
Well,
itself,
what's worse? What's
Yeah,
what are you thinking
what's
of?
the most egregious change for A New Hope? Special edition. The first special edition.
Greedo shooting first.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hands
I think in
down.
the first special edition they shoot at the
Because-
same time or something. No, he
No, no.
shoots first
I
there.
know,
they
Then
shoot
they shoot at the
first
same
times.
time. That's right.
Yeah, Greedo
yeah.
shoots first. Han's
And-
head moves.
Yeah,
Right,
it's like
which
yeah,
looks awful.
terrible. Yeah.
But it's because that's okay. So the Java scene, it doesn't matter, right? It could be there, it could not be there. It doesn't matter. It's kind of dumb. Maybe it's fun. Whatever.
It's kind of fun, especially back then, because they also doppel in Boba Fett. So you're like,
Right.
oh, Boba
Yes,
Fett.
Boba
Now we're
Fett.
talking.
Yeah.
Right.
Except why would Boba Fett have been there? Because Darth Vader randomly hires him.
Well, because
in
Boba Fett's all
Empire
over the
Strikes Back.
place. Boba Fett gets lots of jobs all across the galaxy. Tatooine
Yeah.
is a hub, so yeah.
Yeah.
I guess.
But
There's only like 2 planets, so yeah.
But the Greedo thing fundamentally changes Han.
Yeah, the nature of the
and
character.
The nature of
yeah.
Han, the nature of the
Yes.
character, and ruins his subsequent redemption at the end of the movie.
Right.
Like, that's why it matters. It matters
Mhm.
for the Han Solo character that he fucking shoots Greedo down.
Yeah, he
in
has
cold
to be
blood.
more sinister. Yeah.
Right. It really sets the tone for that character as like, whoa, okay, like he's really mercenary. He is in this.
Yes,
for
he's
the
not a
job.
good guy.
He's
Yes.
not a good guy. Maybe he's not a bad guy, but he's not
He's
Yeah,
not a
but
bad
he's-
guy. But
he's
yes,
not-
and
one of the heroes.
George said, like Lucas has been on record saying he did it because he didn't want Han to look quite as sinister. Like, it's not that he thought it'd be cool and it like coincidentally changes Han's character. He
Right.
outright
Yeah, he wants to
made a
change
conscious
the way it
decision
felt.
to change to Han's
Yeah.
character.
Yeah, that's a
That's
bad
why
choice.
it's so egregious. Yeah.
That's a
Yeah.
bad choice.
Well, especially because
Yeah.
like, oh, like
at the end, it ruins it. It just ruins the climax of the movie because when the TIE fighter gets shot and Darth Vader goes, "Whoa," right? You're like, what the hell just happened? And Han's re-entry there, you're like, holy shit.
Yeah.
That's incredible. I was not expecting that.
right.
He
Yes.
left.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
left.
He
He
said,
took his
"Peace
money
out.
and he went
Have
home.
fun dying. I'm out of here.
Yeah, look, I invited you to leave with me.
Right. I'm gone.
That's the extent of my goodwill. And it's like,
Right.
that's fair. Yeah.
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 Um,
I
And
actually,
real. That's very realistic.
yeah.
Yeah.
true.
And
Yeah.
so that moment when Han flies in,
Yeah, you're like, well, he's fundamentally a good character, so he's gonna come back.
Right.
right.
You're
but before
waiting
that,
for
you
Han
don't
to
know,
show up.
right? But that
Yeah.
was a defining Han choosing to go back is a defining moment for that
Yeah.
character.
Yeah.
And it changes the entire course of his life.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it still could be, just because he doesn't shoot first, that doesn't mean he's not a mercenary. He just Greedo got the drop on him. He just
Yeah.
sucks. That's all. He's just not as competent.
Uh-huh.
He's
And-
lucky instead of like a badass.
Yes.
That's kind of my problem with it, because he still abandons Luke. He still like needs to be redeemed, whether or not he shoots Greedo first. I do agree that like he's a more sinister character, so the redemption is more impactful
Right.
in the original cut. But I still feel there is a redemption, even if
Sure.
he doesn't shoot first. But it's just like it just weakens him as a character,
Right.
for him to not shoot first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just unnecessary, so
Just
unnecessary
unnecessary. Yeah.
to change that,
Yeah.
and impactful. I don't
Right.
like impactful changes,
Right.
No, I
Right.
want
that
to
are bad. I want
Right.
it to be like, oh, that looks good now. Those
Yes.
ships looked kind of
Right.
shitty, and now they look good. That's
Right.
the kind
Right.
of change I want.
That's all I want. Yeah,
like,
the
like
THX
inserting the
updates.
dewbacks, they look great.
I love
Yeah,
the dewbacks. I
moving
love
the
dewback
dewbacks
paint.
moving. I'm like,
Yeah,
oh, they're
that's
supposed to
cool.
move. I always wondered what the hell those things
Yeah.
were. So like,
Like,
yeah,
if we
Yeah.
want to fast forward to the Empire Strike Back, like some of the inserts they did for Cloud City looked amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, the speeder sequences, because like they had to do the transparencies, so like
Yeah, yeah.
having those be a solid block instead of being
Mhm.
like you could see through the comms
Yeah.
console into the
Yeah.
like that.
or
These are
even
things where it's
some
like
they added like some shading to the backgrounds. It wasn't just like the stark blue, right?
yeah,
Like
yeah.
the
They
sunset
added
stuff in
more.
Cloud City.
Sometimes they'll add like
Some
more
depth
ships in the
Yeah,
background.
it just looked great. It just that's because it's not. Again, it was just like making up for a little bit of the maybe they didn't have the budget or the time or the technology. It just tweaks it a little. You're like, oh yeah, it looks
Yeah.
great.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Empire was the best one in terms of the
Right,
special
right. So they
editions, 'cause
really
that's the one they messed with the least.
They didn't
It
have
had
a
the
lot
least
to do. It was already like a
obvious.
perfect movie.
Yeah, well, exactly. Yeah. The Jabba scene for me, I just have a slight correction for our commenter. Jabba doesn't do nothing. He goes,
Yeah, he's like, oh no, but
Oh!
he means he doesn't do anything in in reprisal. Like he's not like
Right.
he's like, you stepped on my tail. The deal's off. How about
Right.
any of the 3 bounty
Right.
hunters in this room kills this guy now? Like,
yeah, it
Right,
makes him
so-
overly familiar.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. So if
Like,
you
oh,
were
you can
talking
step on
about
my tail. That's fine.
impactful change for the Jabba character, right? Like if Jabba
Mhm.
is this looming menace, right?
Yeah.
Like
yeah,
if
I think that's
if
what the
Jabba-
commenter's getting at. It makes Jabba look like weak and pathetic.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Like Jabba would have had Han shot
yes,
and he
Yeah.
would have just taken the ship.
right.
Yeah. Well,
That
Han
would
would
have been
never
it.
have done that, right? Because he
Right.
would know that it wouldn't go over well.
Yeah,
Because
Right,
he knows
yeah,
who
so-
Jabba is.
Right. So like, yeah, it kind of doesn't make. It's just a silly scene that doesn't make a lot of sense in
Yeah.
context of everything else.
Yeah, especially once you've met Jabba in Return of the Jedi, you're like, well, this is not the same guy. Han's not
No.
acting the same way he would have.
Jabba
compared
doesn't
to
even
how
look
he
the
interacts with
same.
this guy. Jabba
Right.
doesn't look the same. Yeah, it's just
Yeah.
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 So it ruins things less so than Han shooting first, but I
Right.
still hate
Right.
that scene.
Yeah,
I hate it
I'm-
a lot.
I don't hate it a lot. I remember being dazzled by it, like when I
Yes,
saw it in the
when
theater.
I saw it, I was like, "That's great," because I
Yeah.
was just overwhelmed.
because it was new. Yeah, it
Oh,
was seeing Star
new
Wars for the first
stuff.
time in the theater.
Yeah.
In the
Uh,
theater.
but-
What about the big stuff?
all the big stuff. Yeah, like I don't need it because again, like my context for Biggs is a deleted opening that still has not been added to Star Wars, where we actually meet Biggs and
Yeah.
we see any relationship between those two characters. Like,
Right. It's still random and out of
It's
place.
still random,
in
like,
the special
oh,
edition.
yeah, when Biggs shows up, like, hey Luke, remember me? And I'm like, I don't.
Wait, did I go to the bathroom when the character was introduced? Who
Yeah.
is this?
Right.
Yeah, like it's just baffling.
Yeah.
But Biggs, I like the idea that like there's a friend from home. Like I'm not fundamentally against the Biggs Darklighter introduction. My issue is more just like, well, if I were editing this, I'd cut out Biggs because he adds nothing to the proceedings. It does give
Right.
stakes to Luke. Like Luke has a friend from home, and he's effing dead. Now Luke
Yeah,
has
right.
literally nobody or something. You know, it's like, oh, okay, but he didn't. He already lost Aunt Beru and Uncle Owen. Like, we're good. We
Right.
we took care of that in Act 1.
Yeah. I also we're not here to talk about this, but the Biggs storyline, I don't get it. Because what happens? When they're in the Death Star battle, he needs help, Luke saves him, and
Yes.
then Luke needs help, and Biggs isn't there to save him, and Wedge saves Luke.
Yes.
And then Biggs dies.
Yes.
Is the story that Biggs sucks?
Yes.
Is that Biggs' arc? That
mean-
he's a loser? Like, in which case, why? Why was that his arc? What was happening?
That's fair.
I think
Yeah.
you're reading a lot into that, but okay.
It's just like it's very deliberate. Like
Yeah.
you made all those decisions about what would happen during the battle.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
And I'm like, is it to make Wedge look awesome?
Yeah.
Which it is what happened, kind of like
Right.
Wedge. And then he's in later movies like,
Right,
this
yeah,
guy,
yeah.
he's like the number 2 starfighter. But like,
Right.
but why? Why would
Yeah.
you do that? I don't know. It's just random.
Yeah. Well, and what's funny is like, blasted Biggs, where are you?
I never
That-
knew what the line meant as a kid. I was like, who's Biggs?
Right. Who's Biggs? Which one's Biggs? Well, and it didn't make any sense until the special editions because they added Biggs. They changed it in 1977 when they went to mono audio to blasted Wedge, where are you?
Oh.
Like, it didn't make
What?
any sense
Wait.
back then, and they changed it.
When did they change it?
When did they change it to Wedge?
No, hold on.
Which version of
I'm
it
gonna
has
pull
Wedge?
up the VHS and I'm gonna cue it up right now.
We gotta
No.
dig into this mystery.
In 1977, the original theatrical version, he says Biggs. In
Yeah.
the original
okay.
mono change for 1977, they change it to Wedge.
Oh,
What is
Then-
the mono chain? What is that? Where
this
was
is
that
according to
seen?
the Star Wars like
No, I mean,
Wikipedia.
what was the like? Who saw that? In what
Right.
format?
According to this, the
really
film was originally
shitty
released with
backwater theaters.
Yes. Both feature 4 main
Oh.
audio channels for the 6th track had at least one LFE channel. A mono mix was produced in June 1977 for exhibition in cinemas with no Dolby, stereo, or surround sound support.
Oh, okay. No, there's a thing. Okay.
By the way,
But then-
they made a lot of changes for that mono version.
Really?
Like, Aunt
I
Beru used a different take. They used different takes for 3PO, Luke Skywalker, and Han Solo. Jack Porkins' scream is cut from the explosion.
Okay. Weird.
Blasted Biggs, where are you becomes Wedge. Different louder sound effects are used for the S-foils opening of X-wings. Luke's line, "So you got your reward and you're just leaving then," is a different take. Like, they just George is already mucking with it before the movie is still in, like, while the movie is in theaters in 1977.
Or
That's
is it
amazing.
that, or is it just like someone was super lazy when they were doing the mono mix because like no one cared?
Right? I
Well,
know.
no, 'cause
I
they-
know who
they-
cares.
Because the Biggs line to Wedge was a fix.
Yes.
Right. That's like,
Right.
oh, he says Biggs, but we cut Biggs. We need a different. Let's do
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
they just hadn't gotten around to like recording him saying it different.
Yeah.
And then
Right.
putting that in. It's like they were like, oh, we didn't have enough time to finish the editing.
Sure.
Let's use the better takes. Let's get the Wedge line in there to fix the fact that Biggs was removed from the movie. Like, but then what I don't get is, well, they took all that shit out.
Yeah.
Like that was not in the versions that I saw as a kid.
No.
Right.
Listen to
Why
this.
did they fix it and then unfix it?
I know. In the 2006 DVD release, instead of using the original theatrical sound mixes, the bonus DVD presentations used the 93 Laserdisc remixes, but the French and Spanish audio tracks on the DVD appear to be based on the original theatrical mono sound mix. And so this goes for Luke Skywalker saying, "Blasted Wedge, where are you?" instead of Blasted Biggs, which they put back in afterwards in 2006. Like, what are we doing? Like, what are you talking about? This is all, by the way, prelude for me to mention that apparently, not too long ago, I want to say within the month, June 16th, they had a exhibition. I don't know if you guys saw or heard about this, of the original, the 1977
this.
long
Yeah.
lost
Did hear
version
about
of Star
this.
Wars: A New Hope, and that Kathleen Kennedy went to it as if to say, like, no, it's real. This isn't like some pirate thing.
Yeah, yeah.
This is the original version. It's kind of sanctioned. We're going to watch this. The Hollywood Reporter has an article about it.
Oh no.
And-
Yes.
Tell me this isn't paid for by Disney / Lucas or whatever. Like, tell me this isn't a hit piece, because Everyone since the special edition, since any edition, since the Laserdisc came out, people are like, they changed it, boo.
Right.
That people are howling for an original version of Star Wars on home physical media. And forever, since Lucas had it, he's been like, no. Then George doesn't have it, Disney has it, and we're like, okay, now new daddy, maybe you could give us the... And they're like, and they just stony silent about it.
Yeah.
No response. They have this exhibition. Star Wars looks terrible in screening of long-lost original 1977 version. That's the headline of the article.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, keep going.
They have some quotes.
An attending film critic from The Telegraph, who attended the screening last weekend, admitted the unaltered original, quote, looks terrible by modern standards. While fans understandably tend to focus on Lucas's most intrusive creative moves, adding the jarring CG version of Jabba the Hutt, Greedo shooting first, stuffing distractions, blah, blah, blah. The amount of subsequent polish and tweaks over the years is so extensive that many aspects of the original look as noticeably fake as egregious CGI. I felt like I was watching a completely different film, wrote Robbie Collin, who called the print a joyously craggy, grubby, stolidly carpented spectacle. Looks like a fancy dress than a grand sci-fi epic. Like, they pulled all these quotes that are like,
Right.
no, it looks really, really crappy.
Right.
So you don't want it because you really do want like cleaned up, nicer versions of this movie anyway.
Right.
And it's like, we have that.
Right. We have that.
We've had that forever.
Right.
Why don't you let me be the judge of that?
Mhm.
But like, I was just blown away by how one-sided and clearly like editorially driven this article was
Right.
from the Hollywood Reporter.
Right.
Where it's
Because
like,
they couldn't
no.
even like interview the man on the street who like was like, it felt really good to see that in its original version again.
There are
Right?
a couple of lines that suggest that. Like, they were
Okay.
saying that every scene had the visceral edge of watching actual people photographed doing actual things with sets and props that they had to physically sew and glue into place. The slapstick between C-3PO and R2-D2 looked clunkier and therefore funnier. The Death Star panels were less like supercomputers than wooden boards with lights stuck on it, and so better attuned to the frequency of make-believe. It felt less like watching a blockbuster in the modern sense than the greatest game of dressing up in the desert anyone's ever played. Like,
Yeah, I read that article and
Okay.
it struck me as like blowing it out of proportion. So like,
Yeah.
yes. Well, okay. You are wearing rose tinted glasses. When you watch, like, when was the last time you actually watched Star Wars Special Edition or any of the newer ones
yeah.
where you couldn't tell that those boards on the Death Star were just wooden props? Like,
Right.
there's no version where they fixed that.
Yeah.
Right.
They didn't fix that shit. They
No.
fixed like the ships and stuff. Like the costumes are still as shitty. Like they didn't go in and like redo every frame so that
Right.
everyone's costume looks better.
No.
Like that didn't happen.
Right.
So
Yeah.
like, where are you getting all this? Like, oh, it's weird how shitty all these scenes look. Like the things they're referencing are not things that were fixed. So
No.
you just have you even seen the movie
Yeah.
before? I feel like they haven't.
Yeah, you know what nobody says? Nobody talks about the boxes around the TIE fighters that you could clearly see in some versions that are like,
see.
box,
Okay.
box, box, box.
Literally. Okay, when the special edition came out, that was the one thing I was like,
Mhm.
God, I hope they fix that. Nah,
Yeah.
fuck it.
Nope.
But that seems like the easiest thing to fix. I don't know.
And they did eventually.
But,
Like,
yeah, it's
it
fixed
took
now,
like
but yeah.
3 versions in
Yeah.
to make it go, oh yeah.
Yeah.
Which I will
Weird.
say, if you have the contrast and brightness set on your TV, they're way less bad. Like because you know, like,
Yeah, you can.
when you're watching at grandma's house,
show
the
up in
brightness
different
and the
ways, yeah.
contrast is always cranked way up, right? And so that
Yeah.
really like But
Yeah,
when
I never noticed them when I was a
Interesting.
kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
was-
vividly
I might
remember when
say
I noticed them, and it was
I-
when this joker over here pointed them out.
Yeah, and once you see them, you can't unsee them.
Yeah.
You never
So-
will.
Yeah, they're there forever.
But there was a certain suspension of disbelief where I wasn't looking at all that stuff.
Yeah.
I was
No.
just,
Just like on Hoth, once you see the background through the snow speeder's A-pillars, you can never unsee that.
Which they point out, by the way, in like the making of featurettes. They're like, you used to be able to see through them, but now you
like,
can't. I'm like,
what?
what? And then they're like, there's like arrows. I'm like, oh my god,
Right? I never saw that, and
But
now I
also-
never not see that.
that's beautiful and magic. That's part of the film making magic,
Yeah.
where it's like, I get how you could be fooled by a magician live,
Oh yeah.
but it takes a special kind of magic for a movie to go da 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 da, and have you not notice a thing that's on screen that you can pause.
Right.
That's
Or that
amazing.
you've seen literally hundreds of times.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then someone
Yep.
goes, "What about that guy?" And you're like, "That guy hit his head on the door."
When,
And by the way, it took me forever. I remember reading references to it in Wizard.
Yeah,
and
it's
being
like,
I
that
don't
never
even know.
happens.
I don't even know what
Yeah,
they're talking about.
Where does that happen? It's like, oh, you have
Oh.
to see it though. If you don't
Yeah.
see it,
And by the
it
way,
just
like
lit, or you
I
know it's
love later
coming.
versions adding a clunk to the sound effects.
I never saw it because I was stuck on full screen pan and scrant
So he's all the way in the back.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
gone.
forever.
That's a good
right?
point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then when I finally got some widescreen, I'm like, oh,
That guy wipes out, by the way.
Ah,
It's not like the fake hanging guy in the background of a Wizard of Oz shot that never even happened. We're talking
Right.
about like that guy really hits that door and he just
he goes down.
he goes down. It's amazing. But yeah, it's just
Yeah.
interesting to see like, people's opinion about the special editions. And it's I rarely see any, I mean, no one, I've never known anybody on any side of the Star Wars arguments to say like, no, the special editions are clearly superior. Like I've never heard anybody argue that, but like it's interesting to see like in a world where we are like so many versions deep in the Star Wars trilogy, and then to point out the fact that like they were changing the effing sound the same calendar year they had the movie out in theaters.
Right.
yeah.
Like they've been changing these movies since people first saw them.
That's right.
And like
the original theatrical release, didn't say episode 4.
no.
That's right. That's right.
Oh,
They
Star
did
Wars.
change that quick though. And
Yeah,
but
they did.
That's the
They
thing.
changed
There
that
is
'cause they re-released Star Wars when Empire was coming out.
Yeah.
And for that first re-release in the theaters, they
it
did
was
Yeah.
A New Hope.
But this is the thing about Star Wars. There is no definitive version of Star Wars because it was changing from minute one. From the
Yeah.
second it hit theaters the first time, it was
Right.
being worked on and changed. And by the way, modern movies are like that too. Like there are changes between the
I know.
original release and like the home
Mhm.
Yeah.
whatever you call it now. It's not video.
Lamentably,
Whatever.
Ethan and I missed out on the butthole cut of Cats. There's the theatrical massacre that is the Tennessee Williams adaptation of Cats. There's another version, the version that no one saw in theaters because no one saw it in theaters, where all the cats have like an anatomically correct butts, and they were like, oh, that's a problem. That's the problem with Cats. So let's overwork our CGI department to erase the buttholes, then re-release that version of the movie during its theatrical run, and
Oh
then
my
when you
God.
see it on streaming, no buttholes.
That's
No
all you
buttholes.
get.
Wow.
They're even
That's-
weirder looking because
They're
they
even
have no
weirder looking 'cause
buttholes.
They have Wow.
It's just we never get anything good nowadays.
Everything sucks.
Well,
Everything's
Everything's
ruined.
bad.
So back to just going. So is it that each not the buttholes?
Of course, no, that's gone.
Past-
That's done.
we're going past the buttholes.
We're gonna pass the buttholes.
Do
Back to
these
Star Wars.
episodes get like a subtitle? Is this no comic required? Not the buttholes? Is that?
I
Anyway.
can't put buttholes in the title.
No, yeah. Anyway, no. But does each? Maybe there's so much discussion and argument about versions of Star Wars because each person has their own
Their
definitive
own.
version.
Yes. The
Yeah, that's how
version you
anyone
saw is the definitive version.
That's
for
why
you.
that's why anyone can defend Phantom Menace is because like they were children when they saw it and they were
That's
like,
right.
Yeah.
I liked the lightsaber fight. We all liked the lightsaber fight.
Yes, it was very good.
It was great.
Nobody
It was-
likes Boss Nass.
Nobody likes Boss Nass.
I've
like-
never seen a Boss Nass fan
Right.
in my life.
And
The
like
people
And I
who
never
talk about
will.
how great the prequels are never reference Boss Nass. It's weird.
It is weird. I've heard people defend Jar Jar Binks.
Yep.
But nobody's talked
But
about how
no one
great Boss
knows.
Nass is. I've also never seen a Captain Panaka tattoo.
No, I
example-
always kind of like Tanaka, but I'm not getting a tat of him.
I don't
I mean,
care one way or another about Panaka outside of the fact that I love that he was like, I don't want to die in the next one, so if you're gonna kill me off in the second one, then I'm not even gonna be in it. And I'm like, okay.
All
Yeah.
right.
George's like,
Nobody
okay,
cares, man.
you're gone. You don't
Who
even
are
get a
you?
line. No one explains who you are. You weren't gonna be in it anyway.
Joke's on you. I don't
I
even
don't
know
remember
who you
you.
are.
Man, yeah, it's just funny. Yeah, you're absolutely right. You're hitting on something fundamental about the idea that like every version, like the first version you see of Star Wars is yours. Like that's the version.
Yeah.
You know, I've
Yeah.
never known anybody who saw like Star Wars, like the prequels or the re-releases, and then saw like the VHS unspecial version and went like, oh, this is clearly better. Like no one's ever
Right.
gone
Right.
back. It's just the one they love the most. It's the one they saw,
Right.
and it's like, yeah,
Right. And like,
it's like a
all
bedtime
right,
story.
so what are each of your definitive versions of Star Wars?
Versions.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's
There
tough
aren't any because they fixed things and ruined like the version I saw as a kid growing up was the TV
yeah,
one
Mm-hmm.
or I had the VHS of Return of the Jedi,
yeah.
right? But
Right.
that's you know, it's 4:3. Like it,
Yeah.
Right.
I don't do anything other than widescreen now, so I would never watch that version. I'd be like, what is
No.
wrong with it? There's these black
Right.
bars on the side.
We should
So like,
we should
Yeah.
we should do it one day.
Yeah.
I have appropriate viewing devices as well, so you wouldn't
Yeah.
get the black bars.
I have a
I will say-
VCR too. I don't have a TV that it would work on,
Yeah.
so that
I've
is
got
cool.
behind the wall. There's the big CRT.
Oh,
you know.
nice.
Interesting.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but see, I'm such a snob now. I'd just be like,
Right.
but I'm missing all that great stuff on the sides.
Yeah.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
Right.
I'd be seeing the panning and scanning. I'd be like, look at the panning. Oh, that's horrible stuff I would never have seen as
Awful.
a kid.
I firmly believe that it should never have a reboot, a sequel of any kind. But should they, or would you have been okay with in like, let's say 1992, Back to the Future 4?
Would I like to live in an alternate timeline where Back to the Future 4 came out when Back to the Future 4 would have come out?
Yes. As opposed to like them trying to cash in on nostalgia or them. I mean, they would have back then too, but it wouldn't have been quite as weird.
Right. I mean, we got that weird cartoon show instead.
We did get that weird cartoon show, and it is weird.
And
You get Bill Nye out of that, by the way. Like,
do you really? Yeah.
because Bill Nye is Doc Brown's assistant in that show, and he's not, by the way. Bill Nye is like clearly shooting like the proto Bill Nye show,
Yeah, they just splice it in.
and they
as,
just
like,
splice it in. Like Doc Brown's like, and now my assistant's gonna take over from here, and then Bill Nye is in the middle of a lesson, makes no acknowledgement to Doc Brown, and just starts doing his thing.
Right.
It's
Which
just
Bill
slapped together.
Nye. So never mind. There's like a whole.
Well, that's-
Bill Nye is like a local Seattle guy, and he
That's-
started on like the Seattle local version of Saturday Night Live.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, and he had like a science
science
show too
segment,
that was like
yeah.
local, and I wonder if that's not what
It
they
is.
just
It's
put
that.
in.
They just took.
Yeah, so he doesn't reference Doc Brown because he didn't
Yeah,
know
no,
that he was going to be
Yeah,
in
no,
it.
plus they bought clips from whatever local station was out. Yeah.
Yep, that's right.
But Back to the Future 4, I mean, like the problem with the cartoon is kind of that like, is it like the logical next step of like, oh well, Doc's time traveling again, and him and Marty are like hanging out, and they're all
He's
living
got the
together
kids
in
and the
like
family
a
and stuff, like-
polycule or whatever, it's
Yeah.
and it's kind of like So
Yeah.
like if you were going to do a Back to
Yeah,
the
the
Future
story's
4,
over.
right? The story's over, right?
Absolutely.
You'd need to really have an idea for it, right? What is the next adventure? What's the next big threat? Because all the threats in that entire series have been completely self-inflicted.
Yeah. No,
Right?
That
it
is
is
true.
entirely their fault. I mean, we've gone so deep into it. Like how,
Right.
Doc Brown could easily have solved the Clara Clayton problem by just bringing her to the future in the first place. Or the
Right,
fact that, like,
yeah.
why are you in such a goddamn hurry at all? We're in a time machine.
Time
Like,
machine.
Whoa, it doesn't matter. Like, we got to go back to 30 years from now and right now. Or we could do it in a week when I'm prepared, when I've taken a
Right.
dump. Like, instead, no, get in and bring her too. And I got my questionable knockout.
My neuralizer.
My
Yeah.
neuralizer. Why do you have that, Doc? Is it the
Yeah,
same
that's
reason
weird,
Venkman has
Doc.
that Thorazine? But
Everyone in the future has one of those.
Right.
why?
Or maybe he invented it. I don't know.
Why?
So then he could muck with time travel or with time.
Stop. Yeah,
We're
where'd you get
raising
that
more
box
questions
full
than
of money
answers
from
here.
all over time?
Yeah.
I robbed a lot of banks, Marty.
I'm a huge
time
hypocrite,
fugitive.
Marty. I use the sports almanac to make money in every decade.
What? The reality
Yeah, it
is,
caused me a
Marty,
lot of problems. That's why I told you not to use it.
you're too stupid to do it, Marty.
Only I'm smart enough to use the sports almanac. Because I'm a genius.
Yeah.
Who are you? You're some high school kid.
Yeah, you haven't even graduated high school.
You got a D in physics. I can't trust you with that.
Why am I even friends with you?
Yeah.
This whole thing's kind of weird. Actually, you know what? We shouldn't talk to each other
You know
anymore.
what? Well,
It's
wait
a bad
here.
idea.
He
Don't
goes
call
back
me.
in time and unmakes the friendship.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
But right, but so what would that story be where and would they do if you were going to make it an interesting story, you would have to have some sort of like actual external threat, I think.
Yes.
Because
2
otherwise
words.
it's just the same
2 words.
movie again.
No, wait. 3 words. Evil time traveler.
Are you quantum leaping this? You're adding like there's an
Yes.
evil and by the way, is it an evil time traveler that is their own character, or is it evil Doc Brown?
Oh, I didn't even think of Evil Doc. I just thought of there's a
There's another time
counterpart
travel.
to Morty and
counterpart.
Doc, and they are
Yeah.
evil.
Yeah.
And they
I could go for a
Oh no, it's Byron. He always hated me in physics school, Marty.
Yes,
Yes.
exactly. Yes. I could go for a time traveling chaos agent.
they steals the time machine plans from Doc
Yeah.
Brown.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe
like that.
maybe he steals Doc Brown's notes from alternate 1986 or 1985, right? When his
Mhm.
lab
He's
was
from 1980.
committed
Maybe he's
and-
from 1985A.
Yeah. Okay.
Mm.
All right.
Like,
all
you
right, we
made
have a movie
me.
here. Yeah.
Yeah. No, we got a movie. No, we don't.
Okay. No, I don't want to see it now. But you asked
No.
in 1994 or
Yeah,
whatever.
if it was 1992 or 3, yeah, it has
Yeah.
to be like
yeah.
after.
I would have watched
yeah.
that in 92. Maybe it wouldn't have been
Yeah.
the best one, but it would have been fun. It
No,
could have
Yeah.
been a
people
fun
don't
outing.
know,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
Well,
And then they
yeah,
made the weird
the
fourth one.
What do you do with Doc Brown? Like, well, he's got a family now. He can't be fighting. Do you
What are you talking
replace
about? They do
him?
it all the time. No. You just either the kids, like no. What you do is you have Claire, you have Marty, you have Doc go on the adventure. Like Marty is in jeopardy. Doc has to go. Clara and the kids are doing their thing, and then the time bandit goes back to like get Clara. Like now, Clara and
Right.
the kids are
And
in
the kids
danger.
are under
That
threat.
ropes them
right.
into the
and-
adventure.
Yep.
Or Doc
I
and
don't
Marty.
want them in the adventure.
No, I don't either.
want
But
Doc
like they
and
have
Morty.
Marty.
Morty. Marty.
Oh, jeez. Now I'm in the movie.
Doc and Marty. I want them. I don't
Yeah.
want all these other characters.
Yeah. Well,
Get 'em
have you
out
ever
of there.
played the Telltale game? Because it is like a nightmare.
No.
No.
I played
I've
it,
seen
and it
you
was
play it a
so
little bit.
hard to play. Like I hated every minute of it because it
Hmm.
was like exhausting and frustrating, and like the story wasn't good enough to like play hard enough. Like the game was harder than the story was worth.
Mhm.
The
Mhm.
concept was
That's-
fine. It was like this is
Mhm.
a fine concept.
Well,
but
what was the premise?
Yeah,
Oh
I'm
my
not familiar with
God.
this.
it's horrible.
Sounds like they already did it in that game.
Yeah, no, I don't count that. Like because it's so like weird. Yeah, Back to the Future, the Telltale game. Here, I'll tell you like what they say it is about, so that it doesn't like because it's like they did episodic installments of it as well.
Okay.
Okay, so oh yeah,
Yes.
that's right. It's 6 months after Back to the Future 1,
Okay.
but also
What?
it's after all those
What?
movies. Like
Okay. Yeah.
Doc brings
So
Doc,
it's 6 months after Back to the Future 3 because Back to
Yes.
the Future 3 ends like a day or two after.
Right.
It's it's the same
It's
day.
the
as
same
Back to
day.
the
That's
Future
right.
1.
Yeah. Yeah.
While Marty is leaving to go to 2015, the train is leaving into the credits of Back to the Future 3. Like,
Yeah.
Right.
Oh my god. So anyway, it's been 6 months since
Bad.
Doc Brown
The
left
events,
in the train.
yes.
Mhm.
The bank is going to foreclose on Doc's house because he's not there anymore and isn't paying taxes on the house.
You mean
So
the little garage,
yeah, the garage he
the
lives in.
lab. Yeah. Okay.
Where does he live now?
The future or
does that
something.
Or the
mean?
past?
It's the past. Yeah, no, it's really annoying.
he's- Okay.
Here in 1986, after failing to stop the foreclosure sale overseen by George McFly, but managed to prevent Biff Tannen wants to get Doc's notes on time travel from the foreclosure sale. So Marty eventually finds another DeLorean time machine, which was a temporal duplicate created by the lightning strike at the end of Back to the Future 2.
What?
It appears outside of
Okay.
Doc's house.
It just
Inside
appears.
is Einstein and a tape recorder with a message from Doc explaining how the DeLorean would return to its present should Doc fall on hard times. And then it's this whole thing. And then eventually Doc has to go, or Marty has to go back to 1931, where Doc has been arrested. It's really, it's
Like
so
that
meandering and
initial
weird.
premise. That's There's a word. Never mind. That's a
Convoluted?
stretch. Convoluted. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a real. Yeah.
I mean, it's gonna be
Yeah.
because of because of time travel
right.
and how much there's been already in those first 3 movies. It's just gonna get exponentially worse
Yeah.
as you add more movies.
Oh yeah. No, the movie the first chapter is basically they go back to 31. Doc Brown is under the alias Carl Sagan and he gets arrested and he's going to be killed by Biff Tannen's father, a character we still have
Okay.
not met.
Never
We also have to deal with young Emmett Brown, who is a little boy in this time.
Okay.
So like that's happening as well.
Right.
Eventually Marty meets Artie McFly, his grandfather, and like I don't know, they get him. You know, he gets Doc and they leave. And then like we got to do another thing and then another.
Where's Doc's family in that? Does he get stranded in 1931 without
Yes,
a
he's
time
stranded in 31
machine?
without a time machine, yeah.
How
For
does
some
that
reason.
even happen?
I don't recall. It's
I-
really
That makes no
awful.
sense.
The thing the lesson that they were teaching about like the kids is that like they homeschool the kids, but they bring them to different eras in time to learn, but not like the cartoon show where it's like now it's our lessons on dinosaurs. Let's go see some. It's like they go to university. Like they wanted the kids like to
attend
experience
school in different years.
Yes.
That's
You have to. Well, okay.
that
so it's
sounds
like
like
immersion.
so much paperwork. My
I
God.
know.
Yeah, you have to lie a lot.
Yes. And create
Well,
a
I don't
paper
know. The
trail
farther
that's, like,
back you go, the
insane.
less lie you have to tell, right?
Yeah.
They
Yep.
care.
We
way
just moved here.
less.
Here are my kids. Okay.
Yep.
That's it.
Yeah, actually, probably before 1985, you're good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just
You're
yeah.
good.
Right?
You had to show
Seriously.
up.
Yeah.
But yeah, the game was not fun.
That's not good.
And Chris Lloyd played Doc Brown though, which is really cool, and he did a lot
That's
of
cool.
work for it. Marty is voiced by an impersonator who does a really nice job, and Michael J. Fox does play like another version of Marty from the future or something later on. Like it's it's weird. I don't care for it.
So you wouldn't want that movie.
I wouldn't want them to adapt the game. Like I know there's people who might say like, "Oh my god, well they did that. It's called the game." No. And in like the early 90s, they never would have made that movie.
No.
Right.
Like you got to ask Zemeckis and Gale like, "What would you do?" Now. Now obviously like those guys are so smart and so great. Like after 3 they were like the only thing that we like asked too much of was making a Western. Like that's all we ever wanted. Like we wanted to make Back to the Future 1. When they told us we had to make more, we were like, well, I have this great idea for 2, and I kind of want to make a Western. And if we make 2 a banger, they'll let us make the Western. And so they did. And that's it. It's like, what do you want to do for 4? For 4, we barely got 3 out of these things. It's like,
we
well,
have to cut some corners like thematically for that to work.
Yeah.
Invent some stuff that just wasn't there.
Just wasn't there. Well, yeah, like Doc has to have a completely new fundamental outlook on time.
Right.
Yep.
I'm an optimist now, Marty.
Marty has to have a fatal flaw that he never had.
At least they set up in 2. At least they set up in 2. It wasn't
like because they knew they were making 3 when they made 2.
Well, they were making 3 at the same time or something. But
yeah. They're like, oh, we got to give him an arc, a new arc.
Yeah, the arc is my life sucks and I'm poor. Now I'm not, and it isn't. It's like, that's not enough.
Have we ever talked about Back to the Future 3 recently?
Not really. Well, Ethan and I
talk about it all the
time.
Sal, so maybe like it would just blend in with all this conversation.
Yeah, Jason, lay it on us. What do you got from?
Okay,
Back,
so
what are your thoughts on
I get to revisit all these movies with a fresh set of eyes through my children.
Oh yes,
which is really fun. and is a real. I did not anticipate that as being one of the joys of fatherhood, of like watching your favorite stuff and show. Right. Anyway, it's really cool
Right.
because you really do see it with like a different perspective. Anyway,
Yeah.
so we've watched them. We've watched all three now, and
Nice.
I used to really not like 3.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, me too.
Same.
And I think it's I I hate it way less than I used to. Like I watch it,
Me
I'm like,
too.
this
Yeah.
is like fine, actually.
No, I actually
Yes.
like
Why
it
do
more
I
than
hate
2
this?
now.
This is fine.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
actually would rather watch 3 than 2 at any given moment.
Really?
Yeah.
At this point,
Interesting.
like 3 has a satisfying conclusion. It's
Mhm.
like
Doesn't it?
really joyful and fun. Back to the Future 3 is the Star Trek 4 of the Back to the Future franchise. Everybody has hit their stride. Everybody's comfortable. Let's just take a victory lap.
Yeah.
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 Let's just have some fun.
And like, okay, there are fewer well executed tension building sequences than Marty driving the DeLorean at the end of the first Back to the Future movie, where he has to hit the pole
Right.
with the hook.
Yeah.
Like he's got to hit that thing. Like he gets like from like, you know, the thing detaches. They got to go up the thing. His engine won't start. The alarm bell's going off.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
You're just like, oh my
everything,
God.
It's
everything is just, oh my effing God.
Yeah.
This is
No, that
never
is
going to work. And boom, 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 boom. And you watch it 1,000 times, and every time you're like, oh, will he make it?
right.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Back to the Future 3 almost gets there with the train.
Mm-hmm.
Almost.
The train
It's-
is a similar
It's
thing.
a similar kind of thing. And it's like it's just fun. It's a
Yeah.
fun
Yeah.
sequence. I used to hate Clara. I called her the Jar Jar Binks of the Back to the Future franchise. And I don't hate her
Golly.
anymore. Golly, that's the only like Jar Jar Binks moment, and it's not even really that bad, like
Yeah.
at all.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
It's not. It's
That's
not.
what she would say. You
You would
know.
say that. Yeah. What's he gonna say?
Yeah.
Fuck. Drop the whole pretense completely. I mean, like that's Back to the Future 4. Is that Clara is a time traveler, and she was
What?
pretending to be from
Oh my.
1885 in 3.
But when did you
never
find out? Like
you
after
Find
she's
out
like
in
married and
4.
has kids with Doc?
Yeah, you find out like, well, she
You keep
changed her
that
mind.
secret for
Yeah.
like
That's
like 10
every
years?
that's every awful sequel now. Is that like, yeah, everything you knew about the person that you cared about and enjoyed for 35 years is garbage and fake.
That's
but anyway,
diabolical.
but I like Clara. I think she's fun. Like she's really grown on me.
Yeah.
Like she's endearing and funny and like cute, and I'm okay with it completely. Like I used to be like, ugh, like she's like the Willie Scott of Back to the Future. I'm like, no.
Because
Yeah.
if you watch Temple of Doom now, Willie Scott is still Willie Scott.
Yeah. Well, and
Yeah.
what I found out recently, having watched Temple of Doom, you know, like as many times as I have, Willie screams as much as, if not a little less than, Marion.
Really?
Like
Did you
Marion
sit
and Willie scream
and...
all the time. I did not, but I was like, yeah, they're pretty much the same. And yet, in the Lego Indiana Jones trilogy, if you play as Willie, one of your attacks is just screaming. That's
it's a special ability. She can
that's
break
how
things.
bad it is.
Yeah.
Apparently.
Apparently, yeah.
So sad. Like you kind of did her dirty there, guys.
Mhm.
But yeah,
Yep.
no, I like her. I like it all. Like I like Back to the Future 3. I love Mad Dog.
Yeah, he's great.
He's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think when I was I think my favorite movie when I was really young was Back to the Future 3. And then I got older.
Yes.
And when I was a teenager, I was like, Back to the Future 3 sucks.
Yes.
Because Doc Brown becomes a loser
Yes.
for this woman who's horrible. And he has weird kids at the end. And it's what is this movie? And then I became an adult. And I was like, no, it's pretty good.
Yeah. No,
It's
yeah.
fun. I like it.
Kinda get it.
For Doc.
Good
That's
story.
great. Yeah, I want to be
Yeah,
Doc.
yeah.
That's great.
It's nice
Yeah.
that Doc gets an arc, you know?
Yeah. He deserves it.
Yeah, good for him, you know?
Yeah.
If not here, then when? Like when will Doc learn a lesson?
Yeah, and I really like it. Has my favorite moment in the trilogy, I think, which
think I've talked about with you before, Sal, when Doc is making the decision to stay, and he tells Marty they're camping. They're like after scouting out the path for the train, and he's like, "I made a decision, Marty.
Yeah.
I'm not going back with you. I'm staying here." And Marty's like, "What? Like that's crazy." And it's like a role reversal, right?
Yeah.
And like Doc is making like a rational choice, and Marty like is like, "That doesn't make any sense. Like you're a scientist. Like use your head." And I'm like, "This is great. This interaction is like gold, and it's just a character moment. It's just two friends, like
Yeah.
like having a fundamental disagreement about where their lives should go."
They,
And
they,
Marty's
they,
sad because he's going to lose his friend. It's just
Yeah.
like, oh my god,
that's also
I love it.
punctuated by the fact that they switch their catchphrases in that movie.
Yeah,
They do.
yes, they do.
Which is cute.
Yes, it's a role
'Cause
reversal.
it's a role
There's
reversal
a
for
whole
that.
role reversal. Yeah,
Yeah. Marty, well, because Marty has more experience going back in time than Doc does.
that's true. That's a good point.
Doc,
That's
you didn't
actually
even
really
try to
funny,
go back to
yeah.
1885. That was a friggin' accident.
Yeah, Marty's the time traveling expert at this point. Yeah.
Yeah,
and there's so
Doc,
many,
if
like-
you love the Old West so much, why did you not go back? Why did you go like 1,000 other places? Because I saw all that money from all those different times. You must have gone to those times.
I only
Why
went
did you-
there, robbed the bank, and then left. I didn't want to leave a big footprint, Marty. You see,
Oh,
the
I
thing
see.
is, like, yeah. There's so much about that is so great. The callbacks and references in 3 are so phenomenal. Like, because you get that, like at the end of
Okay.
2, Marty comes running up the street again.
Man,
The remake of the ending of the first movie, but in 3 is when we go back to Doc's house.
Mhm.
And so we get to retread all those things. We get this, like, Marty tries on the thought cap. He's playing
Yeah.
chess with Einstein, or I'm sorry, Copernicus. Like all these little references in there are in there, and it's like it's just them taking a victory lap and like enjoying the moment. Like they know it's one of those rare instances where they're like, it's over. Like we're never coming back here.
Mhm.
So we gotta
Yeah.
we gotta put it all in there.
Yeah.
Even
I
the
f- I
references
forgot
to themselves.
Yeah, the moment where old Doc Brown, past Doc Brown, parts with Marty, and he's like, "We've been,
Yeah.
I'm really gonna like."
Yeah, it's so
I
great.
love that. I love that Marty Doc stuff, like all that stuff. It's like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
The third one has those moments of like it's bittersweet.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, because it's over, because it's ending.
yeah, yeah.
And maybe like Doc's that's the other thing, is that the cartoon kind of ruins, but like who cares, because it's awful. But like maybe Doc's not coming back.
Mhm.
Right.
That might be the end. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm dressed like Willy Wonka.
I don't really belong here anymore.
And my kids, look at them. So bye.
They're clearly not from around here.
They look like space goblins, but like it's still like, it's funny because like, yeah, I don't know. Like you get the impression like it's
I'm
almost
kind of like H.G. Wells now or something.
yeah, it's almost like Doc is like, the whole trilogy was meant for you to grow up and not need me anymore. Like Doc Brown is Marty's imaginary effing friend.
No one's gonna believe you, Marty.
No.
Why
but
would they?
he's his imaginary friend. Yeah. All
It's
right.
like, you know what it's like?
He flies off in a train that travels through time at the end.
And space. It flies.
That's it.
You know what it's like? It's and Ethan, I think you might know exactly what I'm talking about. It's the 2-part episode of Pete and Pete. Farewell, My Little Viking.
I had no idea what you were gonna say.
When Artie, the
Yes.
strongest man in the world, says goodbye to young
Yes.
Pete,
Yeah. That
which
is- he
was
has to grow
really
up.
rough. He needs to
Yeah.
grow up. You don't
That's
need,
sad.
you can't have me anymore.
like,
Yeah,
but he's one of the. It was one
he's
of the
one of the
main-
cast.
He predates the show. He was from the shorts.
Yes.
He's
What
a
do you-
fixture.
Nope, he's gone now.
Yeah, Pete's growing up.
Yeah, Pete's grown up.
He's too
Oof.
old.
That was a nut punch.
Yeah. And then
was
plays that
watching
sad
Marty leave.
song of the credits.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
Jason, if you've never seen The Adventures of Pete and Pete, you
I-
simply
I-
must.
I certainly remember the shorts, and I
Mm.
probably saw some episodes back, but I was never a
That you should watch it. It's on DVD now. It
I-
is
of course.
genius.
Also, they
It's also
shot it in
New
like
Jersey.
they
Yep.
shot in South Orange and Cranford and shit.
Oh, yeah, Yeah. My cousin went to school with the young Pete, actually.
Oh, that's sweet. That's
What?
really cool.
So
Like,
you're
you know,
telling
like
me
grade
that
school or
there.
whatever, like back in the day, you know.
Oh, okay, okay.
Because
But there's.
it's all local
Well,
I'm
people.
trying
yeah.
to think of his
Because
name. What
Nick
was his name?
Studios was based out in New York, right? So
Oh,
Yeah.
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 But
So
yeah,
you're
that
telling
that
me
show
that
is like a surreal like masterpiece.
Yeah.
it
Like
is.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, it's an exercise in surrealism, like junior surrealism. Like it's
yes.
it's like proto David Lynch. Like it'll prepare you for Twin Peaks and shit.
Ah, okay.
Danny Tamborelli is the person you're thinking of.
Danny Tamborelli, yeah. Yeah.
By the way, if Danny Tamborelli and Michael Morona want to come on the show anytime,
You guys are welcome.
another one bites the dust. We're done with the show. It's over. Thanks for watching, everybody. Of course, I want to thank Ethan for being here as always, and Jason for bombing in another episode. This is a deliberate one. This wasn't like Ben wasn't free. This was like Jason.
Yeah,
you requested to be here. I'm sorry.
For some reason.
Yeah.
You
And you
requested
said
to kill
yes,
2
so
hours
you
with us.
know.
I was like, Jason, you should come back on the show, and you were like, I was just about to ask, and I'm like,
Yeah.
all right, we're making it happen.
Perfect.
So let's
Yeah.
do it again sometime.
I look
Yeah,
forward to it. I have
absolutely.
a juicy topic that both of you are going to really want to sink your teeth into, and we
Yay.
just ran out of time. We just ran out of
Yeah.
time, so I'm looking
Was it
forward
the
to doing
one
it next time.
topic that you like just thought we were going to talk about and we just never got to it?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
I had that feeling. Like
We didn't need it.
none of this stuff is what he was planning to do. Okay.
Nope.
But it was gold
but
anyway.
But I promise you, I did write things down. I did have preparation, and
Got it.
we did a couple of them. The Disney Afternoon
Yeah,
idea,
okay,
I
okay,
wrote that
okay.
down.
Mhm.
The Back to the Future 4 idea, I wrote that down. I don't know if
Okay,
it made it in
so
the episode,
we've-
but it was written down.
Yeah, who knows? A lot of it's not
knows?
going to make it, given how long
Yeah.
we're here for.
Folks, by the way, if you catch this episode and it's like 58 minutes long, just know that there's a full hour and 20 minutes left for you to enjoy over on patreon.com/ComicPop. That's where everything extra goes anyway. So just check that out if you want more of this in any way. But otherwise, make sure to like the video, subscribe to our channel, check us out. If you're listening to the show somewhere else, give us a 5-star rating. It does help us out in some way. I don't know how, but it does. So thanks for being
Everyone
here,
says
guys.
it does, so.
They all say it does. The people who make
Yep.
more money than me say it does. So I guess what do I know? But see you next time, everybody. Bye.